Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. You can follow me there. And the season's almost here. There is a football game today, and this one counts. I am so excited. So with the season right around the corner, it's time to get real about the 49ers and their chances at finally ending the quest for 6 this year. Is the 49ers Super Bowl window open or closed? We'll talk about that today, and stick around until later in the show where we'll take a closer look at this year's Niners rookie class and rank the top 10 rookies from this year. Before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. So to start off, we've got our first official practice report of the season. On Wednesday, Kyle Shanahan told us that Yetur Gross-Matos and Jordan Watkins did not practice, and Jauan Jennings, Jordan James, and Dominic Pooney were limited in practice. But Shanahan expects Jauan to be ready to go for week 1. That is great news. Great news. Hoping for more good news for the rest of the week because we could really use Jauan Jennings out there on the field. Speaking of wide receivers, we also have a Kendrick Bourne update. According to Ian Rappaport, Bourne will be sitting out week 1, weighing his options and deciding which team is the best fit for him after the weekend slate of games. I'd assume he's also waiting to see if maybe there's an injury somewhere, and he's just trying to determine where he can play, where he can win, and where he can get reps. As if it wasn't already important to win that Seahawks game, now we're going to have to impress KB. This is kind of like when college programs have the high school recruits come and visit campus for games. It kind of feels like that. And it clearly seems like both the Niners and the Commanders have similar offers out for KB, because otherwise I feel like he would have picked one already. I'd have to assume that both teams are offering a practice squad spot, so that'll be something to monitor over the first couple weeks of this season. Now, on Wednesday, the 49ers also revealed their 8 captains for the season, and it's mostly the guys that you would expect, right? Fred Warner, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, and for the very first time, Deommodore Lenoir. No real surprises here besides the fact that they cut Kyle Juszczyk and then brought him back, but, I feel like we don't really have to talk about that. Aside from Lenoir, all these guys were captains last year as well, and Lenoir took over the spot that was left by Deebo Samuel. There's been a lot of discussion about captains this year online, as teams tend to have kind of a lot of them. And yeah, I think 8 captains like the Niners have, it's a lot for an NFL team. But the Niners have a ton of guys who are worthy of being captains. Like, the amount of veteran leadership on this team is absurd. It's a really big reason that they've been so good during the Shanahan era. But what do you think? Should teams only have 3 captains? One for offense, one for defense, one for special teams? Or should they just kind of let whoever's a leader have the captain's patch? Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. So with the season right around the corner, it's time to have the hard conversation, okay? Is it even possible for the 49ers to win a Super Bowl this year? Is the window open? And I'm going to say yes. It is a very, very small window, okay? But the window is still open for San Francisco. It would take a lot of players from the 2024 and 2025 draft classes working out. It would take a lot of luck with health, and it would take someone besides the Chiefs making it out of the AFC. And after the last 2 games, I will never take the 49ers in any game against the Chiefs. I just won't do it. So that's what it would take, okay? Good draft picks, good health, and good luck with the matchup. The odds that all of those things happen are nearly 0, okay? Especially considering the Chiefs have made the Super Bowl 5 of the last 6 years. But this team still has the talent to have a Super Bowl ceiling. Their superstars are still here. If they can raise their floor with the rookies and second-year guys, this team can be an absolute engine. I certainly don't think that it's very likely the Niners end the quest for 6 and win a Super Bowl on their home field, but I do think that it's possible, and it's what I will be rooting for all year. Because if it's Chiefs and Eagles again in Levi's Stadium, I might just stop watching football, I'll be honest. So please, Kyle Shanahan, don't let that happen. Do you guys think that the Niners Super Bowl window is open or closed? Do they even have a chance this year? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, about a month ago, I had a segment on this show where I ranked the top 10 rookies on the 49ers this year, and I'd like to revisit that list because a lot has changed. Some guys that didn't make the initial list are certainly in the top 10 now. Some guys fell off the list, and there's lots of movement throughout. So let's start the rookie stock report at number 10 with running back Jordan James. James was playing pretty well in training camp before suffering a broken finger that kept him out for roughly 3 weeks. James was ranked number 5 on my last list, and he's down 5 spots to number 10 after that injury and the Brian Robinson Jr. trade, which means he is now the 4th string running back on this team. All the stuff that I was hoping James would be able to do, like short yardage, goal line, pass protection reps, those responsibilities are all going to go to B-Rob. So while I do like James's talent quite a lot, and I think he's got a future on this team, he's definitely a stock down guy compared to earlier in this offseason. And James, of course, is at number 10 over a couple guys that dropped out of this list entirely, including Sebastian Valdez, the UDFA, and Jacob Robinson, also a UDFA. Robinson ended up on season-ending injured reserve, and Valdez ended up on the practice squad, so I just didn't feel comfortable putting either of them over Jordan James for number 10. At number 9, let's go with Jordan Watkins, the wide receiver. Watkins also falls 5 spots from number 4 all the way down to number 9. And this is also thanks to an injury. Watkins obviously had that breakout play in the Broncos game for 50 yards. It was a great catch. And later in the game, he suffered a high ankle sprain that he is still recovering from, unfortunately. It's clear that Watkins is not a finished product yet. He's going through some of the same issues that most rookie receivers do in this offense. If you remember that Broncos game, he ran the wrong route, and it unfortunately led to a Mac Jones interception in that game. But I am still a believer in Jordan Watkins, and his opportunity to play early should absolutely be there with the DeMarcus Robinson suspension and the Ayuk injury. Watkins should be the 4th wide receiver as soon as he's healthy, which should be somewhere between weeks 2 and 3. I really hope that he can get back on the field soon. I'd love to see him get some snaps and kind of get his feet wet before the reinforcements arrive and he's pushed further down the depth chart. Now, number 8 is our first riser. It's linebacker Nick Martin. Martin was coming off a pretty disappointing performance when I made my last list, and I put him at number 10. But nobody has shown more improvement since then than Nick Martin. He looks decisive, he's wrapping up consistently, he's wicked fast, he's extremely violent. He is exactly what you look for in a linebacker. So why is he all the way down at number 8? Well, unfortunately, he is buried on the depth chart right now. Luke Gifford looks like he'll be the starting strong side linebacker alongside Fred Warner and D. Winters, and Tatum Bethune is most likely the primary backup at each of the 3 spots, given that he's played great any time that we've seen him, and he's been in the system a year longer than Martin has. So I don't anticipate many defensive snaps for Martin this year, although I am certainly impressed with how he's developing already in his rookie year. Martin, like Jordan James and Jordan Watkins, is definitely more of a 2026 player to watch than a 2025 player to watch. At number 7, once again, just like last list, it's UDFA guard Drew Moss. Now, Moss has kind of had an up and down preseason, but it was clear to everyone paying attention that the Niners would lose Drew Moss on the waivers if they cut him. So they didn't. Moss was the only undrafted free agent to make the 49ers roster this year, and I think that's a huge vote of confidence for him from the Niners coaching staff. They're really going against tradition right now by keeping 10 offensive linemen on the roster, and Drew Moss is one of those guys. So to me, that means they value him a lot. So even though he's probably not getting snaps over Connor Colby just yet, they did cut a versatile veteran in Nick Zakelj to keep Moss, so Moss stocks are certainly up right now. The rumor around the 49ers fandoms is that Moss may be tagged as the potential center of the future for this team, but I think that's more projection than anything that we've actually seen so far. Now, number 6 is Alfred Collins, the big defensive tackle from Texas. I actually read a crazy story about Alfred Collins the other day in the San Francisco Chronicle. Apparently, at one point in the draft process, Collins was all the way up to 356 pounds. He weighed in at 330 at the combine in, I believe, March or February. So 356 is really, really high. And with his injury that kept him out of OTAs and minicamp, he had a late start in getting his body right. However, according to Noah Furtado from the Chronicle, great article by the way, Mr. Furtado, Collins has been copying Nick Bosa's diet exactly, and he's already down from 356 pounds all the way to 319. That is a massive change, down over 30 pounds. And now that he's lighter, I hope that we're really able to see his explosiveness and his short area athleticism that he showed off at Texas. This is where I had Collins ranked on my last list because he's been continuing that slow rise to being ready for the NFL. He's definitely coming along slower than most of the class, but it's undeniable that he is improving. He was honestly pretty great against the Chargers in the preseason. I assume he's going to be part of the defensive tackle rotation, but he will certainly have to earn his reps, especially if he wants to be a starter by the end of the year. Now, at number 5, I've got a guy who did not make this list at all last time. It's guard Connor Colby. Colby really had a quick rise through the preseason. He overtook Nick Zakelj on the depth chart and was getting reps at right guard and left guard, playing well at both spots. He became a roster lock pretty late in the summer, and I think if either guard gets hurt this year, being Ben Barch or Dominic Pooney, then we see Connor Colby step into the starting lineup. Now, Pooney's said that he's going to be ready to go for week 1. We'll see. He's still limited in practice, but if Pooney does not play, it will be Colby starting week 1 at that right guard spot. And that's really impressive for a 7th round rookie to even be in the position to start week 1. He's certainly got work to do, all right? I'd like to see his run blocking improve, but snatching that backup guard spot away from Nick Zakelj decisively was really cool to see from a late round pick like Colby. Now, number 4 is a guy that we all know and love. It's CJ West. West is now back from that hyperextended knee injury, and while we did not get to see him in the last 2 preseason games, he did show some flashes against Denver, and I think that he's ready to be a contributor on this defensive line. I did move him down a spot from number 3 to number 4, but it's more because someone else is having a great summer as opposed to CJ West having a bad one. My take that I've been spouting all summer of CJ West being a week 1 starter is technically still alive, technically still possible. But I do think that most likely he's going to be part of the rotation with Alfred Collins. I think that hyperextended knee did kind of slow the hype train for West. I am itching to see how he holds up, though. The Seahawks have a first-round rookie guard in Gray Zabel, and his matchup with CJ West is going to be huge. It'll be also fun to see how Zabel does against the starting defensive tackles, Jordan Elliott and Kalia Davis, and of course Alfred Collins as well. Now at number 3, this is a player who was not even in the top 10 the last time I made my list, but this guy belongs all the way up here at number 3. It's safety Marquise Siegel. Siegel was a revelation in the preseason. His speed and his ability to swarm to the football is phenomenal. He's a violent hitter. He made some really nice tackles in space, and he was awesome in the run game in the preseason. He definitely wasn't perfect in coverage. He let up a touchdown in the Chargers game, but Siegel is certainly in the mix and competing to be a week 1 starter at safety. So needless to say, he's way ahead of schedule. Remember, this guy was a day 3 pick who played 1 year at a Division I school. His coverage skills are raw, and it's really normal to expect development from a guy like that. I'd assumed personally that he would spend the year on the bench, but he's already pushing for snaps. So Siegel is all the way up to 3 for me, and it looks like this may be the 2nd year in a row where the 49ers drafted a day 1 starting safety on the 3rd day of the draft. Pretty cool. Now, these top 2 rookies are really tough to separate, all right? They have both been stars in training camp before suffering injuries that kept them out of the preseason entirely. However, they're both healthy and both projected to start week 1. And they were my top 2 in my last list as well. So I think here I'm actually going to give them a tie. Tied for first place, it is Mykel Williams and Upton Stout. I've docked other players on this list for injury, but despite both of them missing a couple weeks, Stout and Mykel are expected to be massive parts of the defense this year. Stout is most likely going to be the starting nickel corner, and his ability to blow up those run plays is going to be huge. Hopefully his size doesn't hurt him too much against some bigger receivers. I think Seattle's going to be a tough test though. both JSN and Cooper Kupp like to work out of the slot, and those guys are both fantastic in that role. Stout might have his hands full, and if it looks ugly in week 1, just know that not every team has slot receivers as good as Seattle. And as for Michael, he's going to be the day 1 starter opposite of Nick Bosa. His ability to set the edge and contain the run, it's going to show up right away, I'm sure of it. And if he can develop the pass rush and become a consistent threat on the other edge, this Niners defense is going to be scary, scary good. So those are my top 10 rookies for the 49ers right now. Do you think that there's anyone I have too high or too low? Let me know down below. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you tomorrow.